Today on the Topic Show, an 8th grade school issues homework to kids asking them about abortion. Elon Musk reacts to a man killing 3 people after New York City let him out of 8 previous arrests. New FCC Chairman highlights the Biden-Harris ineptitudes. Canada to slow immigration. Elon on the U.S. government spending $100,000 on tequila fish fights. Tropicana new bottle is flopping. Spirit Airlines files for bankruptcy. And General Motors is recalling more than 450,000 vehicles. All of that and much more on The Topping Show. Thank you everyone for taking the time to tune in today. Today's episode of The Topping Show is proudly sponsored by Topping Technologies. Topping Technologies is an IT value-added reseller and services company with a special proficiency IT security. Heck, I see their founder at least twice a day. Gotta say he's quite handsome and brilliant. Tease me, you see that's the joke. If you're an IT leader or a business owner, you can reach out to the team at sales@toppingtechnologies.com. Also, we are still giving away a free flamethrower with every IT purchase. Yes, you can in fact adapt it to a standard AR-15 Picatinny rail, like all awesome accessories can be done. Go to toppingtechnologies.com and click the flamethrower button to learn more. Lastly, trying to get to 4,000 subscribers by the end of the month, so if you can click that button and tell your friends, I would greatly appreciate it. Now, going over to the business part of the podcast, you have Tropicana with their new bottle. Well, it's flopping, which I don't want to say you could have seen this coming, but it's happened to other brands before. I can't help but reminisce when Snapple used to come in a glass bottle. You get those cool little factoids under the cap. And nowadays, they come in a plastique bottle, which I think about 5 people still buy. I'm only partially exaggerating. Now, this comes to us thanks to CNN Business, which somehow still in business. I think I'm the only, well, maybe 1 of 3 people who moderately consistently check out their website, but nevertheless, this comes to us thanks to Nathaniel, and they say, quote, Tropicana fans are ditching the brand after a bottle redesign, which, yeah, looks like a smaller hunk of plastic. Granted, the cap is still orange, and it does contain a derivative of an orange in regards to legally being, orange juice. It's, let's just say the manufacturer of that is by no means fresh, though it is technically a derivative of the orange. True. Now, they specifically say, quote, Tropicana customers are in revolt after the orange juice bottle redesign. Again, Tropicana recently ditched its distinct orange juice now in clear plastic circular shaped bottles with a thinning neck and a crown-like bottle cap known as a carafe. Now that's fancy. I'm not sure fancy people care about Tropicana, but nevertheless, the attempt was made. Over the summer, it rolled out a more traditional-looking plastic bottle and downsized the bottle from 52 ounces to 46. Yet another example of shrinkflation, where, spoiler alert, some of these grocery stores are charging the same, but you're getting less product. Now, I also know that Tropicana also narrowed its label to fit the more compact bottle, which I don't know how many people really care about the label. It's just a big old sticker they slap on it with a picture of an orange. That's about it. They say OJ fans, not the athlete, say are frustrated that the new look, they don't like it, and protested that Tropicana is ripping them off by selling smaller bottles. Even though the prices on the bottles are supposed to be lower, not all stores are following the Tropicana's price recommendation. Customers are on high alert for shrinkflation as the brand charges more for less. Tropicana's sales have been in steady decline this year, but they plunged almost immediately after putting the new bottle on the shelves. Ouch. Glad I'm not in charge of their sales department. In July, Tropicana's sales dropped 8.3%. Ouch. Aren't people supposed to be drinking that in the summer? I mean, I was unusual. I think I enjoyed it as a winter drinker, all year round. But if I were to guess, when do people buy orange juice? I would guess it'd be more summertime. I'm not sure as people, sitting around the Christmas fire and, Christmas tree. Sometimes you have a fire. But I'm not sure a lot of people are actually enjoying orange juice Christmas morning. But that's just me. Ouch. Now, they also say in August, sales dropped 10.9%. By October, Tropicana sales had dropped 19%. Ouch. Tropicana has lost about 3 percentage points of market share to Simply Orange, which is owned by Coca-Cola. And here you can see, I guess the new design is that is pretty bland. It definitely doesn't stand out on the shelf. The old design, at least, had that unique, funny-looking cap. Almost like an industrial, pretty much almost industrial size in terms of the cap, easy to get a grip on. And the new one is just a mass-produced cap that you see on like a V8 bottle, which, spoiler alert, a lot of the bottle manufacturers are the same. But yeah, it pretty much lost all the distinct characteristics. It's no longer angular. And yeah, it almost looks like the off-brand of orange juice. And if I were to just guess by the container, if they were ripped the label away. So definitely not good marketing there. They say that if the story rings a bell, you have excellent memory. In 2009, Tropicana replaced its familiar logo, an orange with a straw poking out of it, with a minimalist design featuring a glass of orange juice, which, yeah, that would be pretty weak. Customers were, oh my gosh, people are really passionate about orange juice. Who would have guessed? Customers wrote letters, sent emails, and called Tropicana in droves to complain about the new symbol and the carton design were generic and cheap looking. Tropicana sales dropped 20% following the redesign, sinking by 30 million back then, which, geez Louise. You don't have a lot of time on your hand if you're writing to complain about orange juice. And again, the taste has not changed. Part of me considered giving a call or a little critique, positive critique criticism to Bare Naked cereal, which a couple years ago changed the formula. So the taste actually changed. I didn't really care about the container, but they took that taste away that I used to enjoy in college, but I partially digress. Now here you can see more of an up close picture of the old bottle, which again was more distinct. And yeah, the article goes on to note that other representatives, other brands are having shrinkflation as well. And again, the parent companies, or in this case manufacturers, are telling grocery stores not to do it in terms of charging more than MSRP, very similar to a car, the manufacturer's suggested retail price. And again, I can't help but think. I mean, it said Simply, which is a competitor, they're gaining some market share, but it looks like overall the category seems to be shrinking. Which, again, if you look at the nutrition facts of like orange juice you get at the store, spoiler, it's a lot of sugar and a derivative of an orange. So I don't know if we're just seeing consumer preferences change as well as having a revolt against the bottle redesign. But this is one of the greatest examples. You see this also with alcohol and beer, especially, where just changing the container has dramatic impact on the sales. It is comical how much they've spent on advertising and just different containers throughout the decades. I remember back when I was in college, they thought it was a crazy good idea. They had almost like a kind of like a I forget what you call the specific shape inside the beer bottle, in which it was almost akin to a screw in terms of shape. So it would, in theory, make it so you could pour out faster. And all I did was change the shape of the neck of the bottle a little bit so that the slew or the sludge of beer would come out in a circular motion. And the theory is you get more beer out quicker, which for that drudge, that'd probably actually you actually wouldn't want that because it tastes so viscerally disgusting. But again, that increased their sales back in the day. So have a little backfire with Tropicana. With the cost of machinery, I mean, geez, when you're talking about manufacturing molds for it comes to plastic components, or plastic injection molds, just the metal molds alone could cost, I mean, even a large scale, you're going to cost, $10, $30, $40,000 per. And granted, these factories are making, not just one mold of this, plastic bottle, but, dozens and dozens. So I'm not sure how much the redesign would cost if they want to actually go back to the default or what they used to have. But yeah, I hate to be a product category manager in that case, or in terms of Tropicana's division handling this pushback. But let me know in the comments. Do you think will the company actually move back to the old design? Do you think consumers will continue to move away from it in general? Let me know in the comments, because as always, I'd be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Other interesting business news: you have Spirit Airlines file for bankruptcy, which, yep, hindsight's 2020, and this is not financial advice. Which, yeah, there's a lot of people on them subreddits and them internet talking about, well, maybe we should buy Spirit Airlines. It's so cheap. I mean, shoot, it has to go up. But like a Boeing airplane, it in fact did not, and cratered to the ground. Harsh pun. But nevertheless, this comes to us thanks to Reva Gold, who's a writer over at LinkedIn News, saying, quote, Spirit Airlines has filed for bankruptcy protection, making it the first major U.S. airline to file for Chapter 11 in 13 years. Spirit has grappled with years of losses. It's last made an annual profit in 2019. Ouch. So they haven't made a profit in 5 years. They also noted, as well as a blocked merger with JetBlue, challenges negotiated with its debt. The Florida-based jet carrier, known as the pioneer of no-frills air travel, said it had reached an agreement with bondholders. It also says it plans to continue operation and that the customers can keep booking and using tickets, credits, and loyalty points as normal. Which, yeah, this is one of the downsides of being the lowest bidder, the lowest price point. I mean, it's one of those things where people are using your price, or using your company only because it's the cheapest, not because it's good quality, not because they value the service. It's just that aggressively cheap price point, which again, that's what Spirit is best known for. So, I mean, I'm not sure who's going to buy them out in terms of the creditor. Maybe the creditors are just going to take additional ownership of the company. But yeah, definitely not good news. And hindsight's definitely 2020. I'm glad I did not invest in Spirit Airlines. Not too surprised. Again, they haven't made a profit for 5 years. Hopefully, not too many. Hopefully there's not too much disruption, not too many employees losing their jobs. But I mean, at this point, are you surprised to hear that they've gone bankrupt? And then what do you think the final chapter will be? And again, it might just be restructuring. They're just going to negotiate with the creditors. But how much ownership might change? That'd be interesting. But let me know your thoughts, because as always, it'd be fascinating to hear what you have to say. Now, going over to the culture podcast, you have 8th grade students' homework asking them about abortion, which gives reason number 9,958,735,452 reason to homeschool your kids. Because, yeah, truth be told, they're not learning a lot in public schools these days. Can't help but wonder, do the teachers' unions really deserve a raise that they ask for all the time when the ACT scores are at a 32-year low? Yeah, fascinating how the test scores and, just decreased ever since the Department of Education was thought of and rolled out, but I partially digress. Now, this comes to us thanks to Lives of TikTok and the good old Twitter, or X as more and more people call it. Let me know in the comments, how many people do you know, if any, that still call it Twitter? Now, she says, quote, "Why is Old School Bridge TPS in New Jersey giving students vocabulary assignments to discuss abortion?" And this looks like it is posted from New Jersey Project News, saying, quote, "Old Bridge, New Jersey 8th grade assignment. This teacher is hunting for information about your child's opinion on abortion. How is this debate acceptable in 8th grade?" Looks like this is a vocabulary list. It says it's about 5 questions. The first one is list 2 things there are a myriad of. And it says list 1 thing that perturbs you, which at least that's a fancy word. List 1 animal that is predacious, and then say list 1 thing that is relevant and important about your life. And of course, the big controversial question right in the middle is list 1 perspective you have about abortion. I can't help but wonder, what is the quote-unquote right answer, and how is the teacher going to react? The public schools. Now, thankfully, this went pretty viral. Got 334,000 views and 8,000 likes. One of the first comments coming from Paul Zupa saying, quote, "Tax dollars being spent on abortion is illegal," getting 33 likes. Planet of Memes, a little disappointed they did not, in fact, respond in meme form, said, quote, "8th grade, that's inappropriate," getting 105, Spigot 106 likes. Base Electrician says, quote, "This isn't even an attempt to be discreet. 1, 5 plus 7 equals question mark. 2, 2 plus 8 equals question mark. 3, list the negative effects of Donald Trump's nomination, Matt Gaetz, as potentially the next Attorney General of the United States. 4, 8 minus 3 equals," which, yeah, he's, he's hitting the nail right on the head, so I say it's, not discreet at all. Cool Christian Engineer says, quote, "Abortion is murder." There's a picture, or not a meme, but it's a little picture of a gal who's pregnant. It says, "For the logic impaired," and there's a little circle around her body. They point at her belly where you can see she's pregnant. It says someone else's body. The text below it says, "Not your body, not your choice. Abortion is murder," getting 37 likes. Johnny Maga says, "This is appalling," getting 1 like. Cool Christian Engineer also says, "Homeschool the kids," getting 9 likes, which, I was going to say, how many reasons are there to take your children to public school? I mean, it used to be it used to just be like, the only argument I ever really heard was cheap childcare, because again, they steal your tax dollars to pay for those things. So you have to pay for like a private one. But yeah, is it really worth it? Mark says, "The more things change, the more they stay the same." And they have a picture of an old Aztec temple, and the top says child sacrifice, and it says then, and then it's juxtaposed with the now, and the now is a Planned Parenthood clinic, which, interestingly enough, has a very similar architecture as the old pyramid. They got 97 likes. Though Planned Parenthood is now very much increasing their revenue from the kids and adults. Again, I got 97 likes. Let's see. Bowtied Queen Bee / homeschooled, the homeschool homie. It's a long name, but a good one nevertheless. Now, she says, quote, "That's why we homeschool." And this little cartoon says, "First day of homeschooling, everything the state says is a lie, and everything it has was stolen," getting 95 likes. Chris says, "Because the schools are not about teaching basics in life, they're propaganda pushing indoctrination camps," getting 29, so I get 30 likes. Yeah, it's amazing how many, and again, I'm still paying them off, but how many kids are brainwashed to think they need to go to college in order to be successful in life, and decades later, they still have crippling college debt. If it was a good thing, if it was good ROI, they'd be able to pay it off much quicker. I think that's one of the biggest loads of BS public schools ever indoctrinated kids in. I mean, for me, it was ever since kindergarten all up. All those teachers said, again, it's one gang, a union, got teachers unions and all of middle school, high school, and colleges. Well, they all said the only way to be successful is you have to go to college. You have to take out those loans. Interestingly enough, most millionaires that I've met and interviewed on my interview show, they have at most high school education and many of them dropped out. So fascinating how that works out. And yet, people with college degrees are still paying off those loans. You have ragged old flags saying, quote, because they want to brainwash them from a young age, get this crap out of school. It's getting 51, so get 52 likes. See, I'm not seeing anyone sticking up for this teacher. Now, that being said, there are many people who believe that teacher should ask these questions and also talk about sexual things to your children. We mostly would call them San Franciscans. That's only partially exaggerated. I'm sure there's 18 conservative people still living there. Lord knows why. Going down more and more. Life God Gun Memes, long name, but I'll allow it, says, this is disgusting. Kids don't need to worry about this. You're giving groomers a bad name. You have all the, MTC, the NPR, crazy looking gals that says, you need to stop having kids. It's harmful to the environment. And they have a trad family that says, no. Getting 7 likes. Not seeing any, not pretty much no contrarian statements. And I'm scrolling down pretty far, getting to the bottom of the comments. The best Photoshop is, the science says, there's a correct answer though. And they responded to the children's homework simply saying it shouldn't be on a vocab sheet. They got 1 like. Let's give it 2 likes. Again, it's one of those creepy things where they will talk to these kids about anything, including giving them books that talk about how to do adult things. And I'm not talking about paying your taxes, which, yeah, fascinating how they don't teach you how to do that in public schools these days for the most part. That'd probably be an important thing, but I digress. Let me know, do you think more, there's rumors that Trump's going to get rid of the Department of Education, defund it, just revamp it. With the current administration, let's say with the current infrastructure we have with the public teachers unions, what option do you prefer? Would you rather have your kids homeschooled? Would you be willing to, send to a public school, maybe send to a private school? What are your thoughts? Let me know in the comments, because as always, I'll be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Other interesting cultural news, you have Elon Musk and a man killing 3 people after New York City let him out multiple times. Remember, New York City has a brand. Yeah, was it the mayor there, Eric Adams, who said that? It certainly does. He was talking smack about, I think, Nebraska, and he was saying, oh yeah, no, Nebraska doesn't have a brand. New York City has a brand. He is, in fact checked true in the fact that New York City does have a brand. I would argue mostly corruption, record crime, and an overall negative business and life environment in terms of high taxes and high regulation. But yeah, that's technically a brand. Now, Elon Musk's responded to this, and this was originally posted thanks to America, which, talk about is in this case, it's not an expensive domain name, but talk about a prestigious Twitter handle. It's literally is hashtag America. Pretty good, I approve. And they even have an American flag emoji, perhaps one of the few times it's appropriate to have an emoji in your name. Now, America says, quote, a man with 8 previous arrests in New York City alone went on to an unprovoked, and again, cover your ears here, children listening, an unprovoked stabbing spree that left 2 men dead and a woman in critical condition. The justice system is failing to protect people. Americans deserve safe cities. Which, this is reason number 9,758,735,458,073 not to live in a Democrat-controlled city. Or pretty much any big major city. Every once in a while I have to go there for work or like a meeting, and I try to get out as quickly as I possibly can. Now, Elon simply responded saying, quote, enough is enough. But will they vote differently? Yeah, probably not, but who knows? Maybe San Francisco and New York will be great places to live in 2025. No, I don't think so. I don't see them doing anything to reverse their trends or increase, actually crack down on the actual crime or attract businesses to relocate there. Granted, I'm not a gambling man, but if I were to place money on that, I'd say the odds are less than 1% that happens. Now, it's a pretty probably got 16.1 million views as well as 183,000 likes. And you actually can scroll up here, and I'm not going to zoom in because it actually shows some blood, unfortunately, but it shows you the locations, and they are calling it the Manhattan Bloodbath. And yet another place where you're really not allowed to defend yourself. Remember, this is the same place where they prosecuted Daniel Petty, a former U.S. Marine who saved a whole group of people on a subway a gentleman with like 76 prior arrests, a whole lifetime of what's a nice way of saying, well, being POS. This is a guy who literally beat up old people and pushed people in front of trains. And Daniel Petty, the guy, that evil guy, was freaking out on the train. Daniel Petty subdued him, had him pass away, and yeah, it turned into a political thing. And then the state went after Daniel Petty, even though the local police at the time said, well, clearly self-defense. Yeah, and they wonder why good men don't step up anymore, because the whole system is against them. Now, scrolling down some of the top comments, you do have a contrarian one right off the top. You have Brian Krasenstein, which I guess he gets maybe he gets an accolade for having the world's longest last name, perhaps. But nevertheless, in all seriousness, I try to follow some folks of all ideologies so you don't get stuck in an echo chamber. And he is very much a leftist, mostly mentally vacuous, but nevertheless a perspective. Now he says, quote, Trump had 4 arrests and he is the next president. He had 1.9 thousand likes, and proving Brian is that mentally vacuous. Because again, all that lawfare against Trump, also Trump was never violent. And this is someone who was arrested 8 times and went on a stabbing spree. Be nice if those people were allowed to defend themselves, but it's nearly impossible to get a concealed carry permit. Should be, I'm a big fan of constitutional carry and granted, I still recommend taking a class to understand the legalities of, when you have to use a firearm to defend your life. But yeah, if only you're allowed to defend yourself in Manhattan, but you're not. Now, you also have Gunther Eagleman, who says, quote, lock criminals up, problem solved, getting 2,000 likes. You make it 2,100? No, but nevertheless, I did like it. You also have Ian Miles Chong, who said, quote, it just keeps happening and everyone's fine with it. And then they throw people in jail if they try to step in, aka Daniel Penny, getting 2.2 thousand likes. Anti-woke memes, A+, they did in fact respond in meme form, said, quote, we stand with Daniel Penny. And there's a picture of Daniel Penny, simply says, we stand with Daniel Penny, doing the job New York City officials refuse to do. That got 9.2 thousand likes, which again, former U.S. Marine who literally stepped up when a whole group of innocent people in a subway train were scared to death that this violent, crazy person is going to hurt them. And all he did, I think he put him in a chokehold, and the lifetime criminal passed away. And New York is going after the good guy, the guy who saved a whole bunch of people in the train. And in terms of civil litigation, apparently, again, that crazy guy who, again, had 76 prior arrests, including hitting grandma in the head and shoving people from subway trains. Well, now his family's coming out of the woodworks to sue Daniel Penny on a civil level, too. Interesting, the family was not there to support this POS when he was a lifetime criminal, but now that they think they can make money, they come out of the woodwork and pretend to care again. New York City has a brand. Yeah, you could not pay me to live there. Any amount of money. Going down more and more. Anti-woke memes also says, quote, this Democrat-caused crime wave must end. And it looks like it's an article from February 2024 by Joey Mariano, says, quote, and this is from the New York Post, says Amazon truck driver fends off attack from drunk, naked New York City migrant and ends up in cuffs, which, yep, if that's the New York City brand, that's the New York City culture. Defend yourself, go to jail. Protect innocent people, get arrested. Yep, that got 1.3 thousand likes. Anti-left memes says, quote, free Daniel Penny. It's a Daily Mail article, says, quote, Daniel Penny, 25, due back in court for Jordan Neely chokehold death, judge to rule on Marine veterans' request to dismiss charges. Got 2.5 thousand likes. Adam Lewinsky says, quote, enough is enough. We will finish building the border, reinstate, maintain in Mexico, and begin mass deportations. This is an AI-generated picture of Elon Musk saying, make America great again. Elon Musk suited up and complete with a cowboy hat. A little disappointed he does not have a revolver or 1911. Some might say those a little bit dated, but I just say those pure America, but that's just me. Got 5.4 thousand likes. Anti-woke memes also says we need more people or more heroes like Daniel Penny, and it's an article by Christine Fleming saying, quote, Daniel Penny labeled a white man by prosecutor at racially charged manslaughter trial. Got 1.3 thousand likes, which is another fascinating framing by the mainstream media. Every time there's someone who does a crime and they're white, they'll report the race. And quite the antithesis. They don't do that anymore with the other groups of people if they commit crimes. Let's see here. Going down more and more. Someone has a picture of a New York City subway train versus Tokyo's. And of course, the subway in New York is trash, literally trash on the ground, and people are homeless. And in Tokyo, it's immaculate, clean, and people are all cordial. And I was going to say, some are even suited up, as all men should be. So let's see. Not seeing any contrarian statements here thus far. And Yeah, Lord only. I mean, I would get out of these cities as soon as possible. Well, we'll do one more. Danny Noonan says, "quote Kami's going to commie," and it's a gal standing and looks like an apocalyptic era, although it might just be modern Detroit. It says Democrats be like, but we still have abortion, getting 122 likes, which, yeah, fascinating if you look at the top priorities of men versus women on average. And these, again, are small polls, about 1,500 people coming up to the 2024 election. Yeah, for women, one of the top issues was abortion. Mostly mentally vacuous because, mentally vacuous, I need to articulate more. Mostly mentally vacuous because, again, that was not on the ballot. It's been relegated to a states' rights issue. The Supreme Court has already ruled on it. Doesn't matter. Oh, I mean, Trump won. He said multiple times they're not going to do anything on the federal level. And if they tried, the Supreme Court would just shoot it down because the precedent has already been set. But nevertheless, people thought that was a thing they need. They thought that was an issue in the election. Let's see. So, yeah, we'll see. I'm not sure if you could really ever. And we'll see if New York City could ever make a comeback. I'm pretty skeptical, and again, I would be horrified to actually live there. And I hope that one victim that was hurt by their life, help they make a full recovery. But yeah, yet another reason not to live in New York City. And let me know. I mean, it used to be, decades ago, people used to think, New York City is a place of entertainment. They thought it was a great thing. Maybe it's just rose-tinted glasses, but it seems to be almost like a Boeing airplane or Boeing stock to just crash miserably past couple years. I mean, let me know. Would you ever want to go and visit New York City? I mean, they used to have those T-shirts that some people wore saying they love New York City. I'm not sure if they still make those anymore, but let me know. Do you think it's still culturally relevant? Is it a great place to visit or live? Let me know in the comments, because as always, it'd be fascinating to hear what you have to say. Now, going over to the political part podcast, you have the new FCC Chairman Brendan Car highlighting the ineptitudes of the Biden-Harris administration, with many saying we're in good hands. Unlike people who actually have Allstate insurance, which is actually pretty bad, allegedly. Now, this comes to us thanks to End Wokeness, and he says, quote, "Meet our next FCC Chairman, Brendan Car. America, we're in good hands." And, yep. And, as all good men, he did, of course, suit up for the occasion.
In 2021, Vice President Harris agreed to lead the administration's signature $42 billion effort.
Let me rewind that really quick.
In 2021, Vice President Harris agreed to lead the administration's signature $42 billion effort to extend internet service to millions of Americans.
42 billion.
It's now been 1,039 days since that program was enacted. After all of that time, not one person has been connected to the internet. Not one home, not one business. Not even one shovel worth of dirt has been turned. And it gets worse. No infrastructure builds will even start until sometime next year at the earliest, and in many cases, not until 2026. This makes Vice President Harris's $42 billion initiative the slowest moving federal broadband deployment program in recent history. With Vice President Harris at the helm, Politico recently reported on the, quote, frustration in finger pointing that defined the program's, quote, messy, delayed rollout. One state broadband official described, quote, a chaotic implementation environment, dysfunction, delays. She added that the administration, quote, has provided either no guidance, guidance given too late, or guidance changing midstream. The administration, she said, is slowing states down. So what has the administration been doing over the last 1,039 days instead of connecting Americans? It's been advancing a wish list of progressive policy goals. The $42 billion program led by Vice President Harris is being used to push a climate change agenda, DEI requirements, price controls, preferences for government-run networks, and rules that will lead to wasteful overbuilding. All of this will leave rural communities behind. Frankly, it would not be the only time the Biden-Harris administration has left rural America behind. In 2020, the FCC secured a commitment from Starlink to provide internet to 640,000 homes and businesses for about $1,300 per location in federal support. But the government revoked that award last year after President Biden gave agencies the green light to go after Musk. The administration is now spending dollars on the penny to connect locations through its own initiatives. Senator Cruz released a report identifying entire projects where the administration is now spending over $100,000 per location for internet. So here's the bottom line. Absent major reforms, Vice President Harris's $42 billion program is wired to fail. It's time to correct course. Get rid of all the extraneous political goals and focus on quickly connecting Americans. In closing, I want to thank you again for the opportunity to testify. I look forward to your questions.
Public sector shines again. Spending all that money with nothing to show. Moving as slow as perhaps the 1990s or perhaps the 2000s era Prius. Which, automotive pun, that's pretty darn slow. Now, this didn't go as far as I thought it should. It got about 250,000 views and 5.3 thousand likes. But yeah, Elon could literally just send up more Starlink, hover them over, or realistically reposition a couple of satellites and do it at a fraction of the cost. I mean, it's just apples to oranges as well, because again, it's a whole new, better offering, much more efficient. Because again, one of the issues with laying down, fiber optic and all the cabling, very time consuming. You also have to worry about, well, Lord knows how many times construction sites are digging and they accidentally hit a fiber channel. Just having it come from satellite, there's a lot of advantage to that. Now, going to the comments section, one of the first ones comes from Paul Zupa. Paul Zupa says, quote, I'm sure most Democrats have never heard Brendan Car give this criticism of Kamala and her failed broadband program. It's also telling how many Democrat lawmakers at the hearing weren't even paying attention to what Car said. They're just looking at their phones, getting 57 likes, which, I mean, I would say, yeah, I mean, that's kind of the par for the course, just not paying attention. And also when someone's being critiqued, on average, if they're trying to divert attention, perhaps maybe indicate shame. But that would actually suggest they have a modicum of responsibility. And let's be honest, they're government employees. Not sure if they have that. You also have AKA simply saying, let's go, getting 31 likes. America Papa Bear says, I love this pick, getting 18 likes. Christian Engineer says, strong pick, getting 10 likes. Anti-woke memes did in fact respond in meme form, said, quote, wokeness must be abolished from the government ASAP. And is it, get that gal's name, is it Jen Psaki? And it says, the party that says men can get pregnant want to control disinformation on the internet. Getting 46, getting 47 likes. Salty Goat says, quote, looking more and more every day like we're going to have actually get some things done this time around, getting 176 likes. Getting 177. Anti-left memes has a picture of Jim Halpert from The Office pointing to the whiteboard. The cliche meme where it says, if you want to know who the bad guys are, it's the side who wants to arrest you for memes and jokes, getting 27 likes, which, yeah, they're already doing that in the UK and other, I would say now third world countries, banana republics. You also have anti-woke memes saying, we dodged this disaster. It's a picture of Kamala Harris. It says, quote, open borders, weak military, runaway national debt, cultural warfare, destruction of liberties, mass inflation, terrible economy, unaffordable housing, global conflict. The Harris record, getting 39 likes. Now, you also have Gina Fauci saying, love what we've seen thus far. And there's little screenshots of Brendan Carr's tweets saying, quote, good morning and God bless America, which is something you don't see from Democrats these days. That's probably one of the biggest, well, it's hard to say what's the biggest blunder of the Kamala Harris campaign. She's had many, probably read a couple of books about that. Or shoot, probably an entire Encyclopedia Britannica worth of books, which might be a dated reference since they haven't published those for probably a decade. But nevertheless, yeah, he said, good morning, God bless America. At Kamala Harris rally, someone said, something to the kin of, God bless America. And she literally said, you're at the wrong rally, which, I mean, given their track record with religious freedoms, yeah, they are, saying the quiet part out loud. They got 56 likes. Let's see. Anti-left meme says, Brendan Carr is bringing the energy of George Washington. George Washington apparently said, quote, if the freedom of speech is taken away, the dumb and silent will, we may be led the sheep to slaughter. I think they're missing a comma there, but nevertheless, great quote, getting 18 likes. So yeah, in theory, they should just call up Elon and immediately say, hey, why don't you just throw a couple more satellites in there, do it at a fraction of the cost with pretty darn good reliability? I mean, in order to get I think to get internet to rural America at a cheap price point, realistically, I think that's probably the best way to go and the fastest way to go. Because again, digging conduit and laying down fiber is pretty time consuming as well. But let me know, do you think will actually be more efficient or more just FCC under the new chairman? What do you think the future is in that regard? And do you think it's bright? Let me know in the comments, because as always, it'd be fascinating to hear what you have to say. Other interesting political news, you have Canada to slow immigration. Perhaps the mooses are starting to bump into each other next to the beavers and the hockey players. And Tim Hortons, funny Canadian third thing. Now, this comes to us thanks to, apparently, is it really Justin Trudeau's ex-Twitter account? Is it really him? It is. He's got 6.5 million followers. Now, apparently little Julio Castro, Justin Trudeau, it's hard to tell the difference, says, we're making a big change in immigration in Canada. Here's why. Something about 32 seconds long. Oh, I'm sorry. I should have done a visual disclaimer because you have to see Justin Trudeau. He's on the screen now. Yeah, it's not a good sight.
Immigration. Let's talk about it. In the last 2 years, our population has grown really fast, like baby boom fast. And increasingly, bad actors like fake colleges and big chain corporations have been exploiting our immigration system for their own interests. So we're doing something major. We're reducing the numbers of immigrants that will come to Canada for the next 3 years. Today, I'm going to let you in on what happened, where we made some mistakes, and why we're taking this big turn.
Got that serial killer vibe. Well, that's just me. And it went pretty well. I got 6.7 million views. Wendy wondering why. Well, why now, Canada? And it also got 15,000 likes. One of the first comments comes from us thanks to Valentina Gomez. Says, quote, needs a man with actual balls to lead a nation, not feminized boys like you. The whole world has seen you bring in terrorists while locking up law-abiding citizens. Canada. Getting 3.9 thousand likes. Allegedly, they're also going to have a bunch of celebrities from the United States moving to Canada because Trump got elected. Hopefully they make it across that border safely, and they'll be entertaining the moose in Canada. Let's see, scrolling down more and more. Mike says, quote, inviting the world and having taxpayers foot your bill didn't work out well, did it? And it's an old tweet from Justin Trudeau that says, quote, let's see here. To those fleeing persecution, terror, and war, Canadians will welcome you regardless of your faith. Diversity is our strength. Got 1.9 thousand likes from Mike. This is an interesting profile name. GovEth is corrupt. X is corrupt. Saying, quote, remember, folks, it's not racist if the liberals do it. Getting 3.2 thousand likes. Yep. If it wasn't for double standards, most politicians would not have standards at all. Anti-taxer says, quote, you're the most incompetent prime minister in Canadian history. You flooded Canada with unskilled laborers to disguise a recession caused by borrowing $600 billion. Or, I was going to say pesos, that's Mexico. Canadian Canucks, or pancakes. They say, quote, now they refuse to leave. Get out of our lives forever. Getting 3.8 thousand likes. Going down more and more. You have Zachary Tisdale, Canadian flag, saying, quote, this you? I forgot the actor, but it's evil. Is Indiana Jones 3. Remember, the Indiana Jones is a great trifecta. The trilogy. It's only 3. And it's the third one. What is it? It's the one where he tears the heart out of the guy. But that bad guy, it's a picture of him. It says, quote, flood the country with immigrants. Anyone who notices is racist. Getting 1.5 thousand likes. Justin Trudeau's ego, that's a specific account, saying, quote, it's because I brought in several million people who are still embroiled in their foreign conflicts, and Canadians are no longer safe in Canada. Getting 5.1 thousand likes. Let's see here. Unwoke Media Inc. says, quote, we are not being fooled. It's a cartoon of the gal from the 1950s pointing to a sign that says, quote, there's no plan to fix anything because the plan was to destroy everything. Getting 428 likes. Still not seeing any contrarian statements here. Let's see here. I also have, is this Pierre? He's actually, there's not many, but he seems to be a good politician. It's a rare thing. This is from Geraldine. Says Friday, Pierre gave an interview on immigration. It was originally posted by Stacy, saying Pierre I'm not trying to put this on a few times, I'm not intentionally trying to butcher her name. Pierre Poilievre speaks out about immigration in Vancouver.
Let's not get distracted. The problems we have in immigration happened under Justin Trudeau before this election. And President Trump has not even taken office yet. And the chaos in our immigration system has happened mostly in the last 3.5 years when President Biden was in power. So let's not turn our gaze away from the source of the problem, which is Justin Trudeau, who increased our population growth by 300% in a matter of a couple of years, who, by his own admission, this isn't me, allowed massive fraud in international students, temporary foreign workers, and the refugee system. By his own admission, the liberal immigration policies have caused massive housing, job, and healthcare shortages. And now he's basically denouncing his entire immigration policy and expecting us to believe that he can fix the problems that he caused. This rampant incompetence has caused human misery, both for newcomers and for multi-generational Canadians like you and I. The bottom line is we have to fix our immigration, get back to the best system in the world, the one that brought my wife here as a refugee legally and lawfully, the one that brought so many people here to pursue the Canadian promise. And we definitely need more frontline border guards. We need to secure Roxham Road and other points of entry. We have to make it clear that it is not allowed for people to just walk across our borders. And we have to look at legislative changes if necessary to prevent people from abusing our system. It is possible to be a refugee to the United States. It's not possible to be a refugee from the United States. We vacation there. It's not, it's not a dictatorship. It's not a dangerous. It's not a.
I never heard that. The Canadian Promise, or what was that? Got 103 likes. It's sad that so many Canadians still they voted for Justin Trudeau. Let's see. You also have Wasted Canadian. It says, quote, "Get lost." And it has a flag of Canada as the emoji. It says, it's cheaper to deport than support. Canadian flag there, getting 501 likes. There's a lot of irate Canadians in the comment section here. Julia Maxine, Canadian flag, says, quote, "Too little, far too late. You don't get to puff and boast about the wonderful things you did, or that you will do to fix this problems you caused," getting 35 likes. So, well, it'll be interesting to see if Canada can ever really be fixed or what's going to happen over there. But, yeah, definitely feel bad for the Canadians. You see, have a lot of people that tuned into the podcast there in terms of the downloads on the Spotify and the Apple podcast, and all of a sudden they disappear from Canada. I don't know why those downloads just disappeared, but I used to have some Canadian refugees behind enemy lines, which really get me started on the gun rights and the Canadian government disarming their populace and their people. But yeah, I know there's some good Canadian people out there and thinks that, POS Justin Trudeau is leading them. He needs to go back to Cuba. It's only partially a joke because his mom was a promiscuous woman who spent time with the Castros, some of the most evil men in history. And yeah, a lot of people speculating, well, is that just a Castro's bastard of a son? Similar policies, look kind of the same, but another topic for another time perhaps. Let me know, do you think, what Trudeau is saying, will Canada really slow down their immigration? Do you think the public will have an appetite for that? Let me know your thoughts in the comments, because as always, it'd be fascinating to hear what you have to say. Other interesting political news, you have Elon Musk and the U.S. government spending about $100,000 on tequila fighting fish. Which, yeah, that was not a blunder or a misspeak on my part. Well, I suppose that was right there. But this is something that our tax dollars are paying for. Again, let's pull up that depressing debt calculator really quick. Are we at 36 trillion yet? What is it right now? U.S. debt calculator, or is that 37 trillion? What's it at these days here? Go to that usdebtclock.org. $36 trillion, thanks to the ineptitudes or corruption of Democrats and some Republicans. Yeah, $36 trillion in debt, and we're spending money on tequila fighting fish. Yeah. Now, this is posted thanks to perhaps one of the only government branches I approve of, the new Department of Government Efficiency, also known as DOGE, which, turning a meme into a real department that's just GOAT level stats from Elon, as well as Vivek, who's going to co-lead that. Now, Elon responded, so it's simply a looking funny emoji. And let me pull this up really quick. This is the items your tax dollars are being spent on. It says $100,000 to study if tequila or gin makes some sunfish more aggressive. Nearly $1 million to study, cover your ears there, children listening, to study if cocaine makes Japanese quail more sexually promiscuous. $1 million. Who thinks of that? We're going to check this out, Bob. What are we going to study today? Well, we're going to see how these quail get it on if they use Columbia marching powder. Yeah, they also spent $750,000 to study if the moon landing line was, quote, one small step for man or one small step for a man to study inclusion. Wow, that's so stupid. And let's pull up this video here. About a minute long here. And of course, they do have a funny little graphic of two fish drinking on stools and about to fight each other. Here. There we go.
Gin to a sunfish versus tequila, which would make the sunfish more aggressive? Nearly $1 million
That should be something on Mythbusters, if anything, not our tax dollars.
Spent studying whether or not Japanese quail, if you give them cocaine, whether or not they're more sexually promiscuous. Was it one small step for man, or was it one small step for a man? And in the end, $750,000 later, they couldn't decide.
And remember, this is money also paying government employees to do this crap. Yeah, there's a lot of fat to trim from the U.S. federal government. A lot.
Was it one step for man, one step for a man? $2 million for the construction of a kelp and shellfish nursery in Maine. $1.5 million to encourage video gaming in New York. We might be better off spending $1.5 million to discourage kids from playing video games. $388,000 for
encouraging video games? Why the hell do they need that? You have Nintendo and Microsoft to push that stuff. They already make it. Kids already buy it. Why would the government want them to get into video games? Perhaps because it makes them more compliant to listen to what the government wants them to do and just keeps them sheltered at home. Like, what's the upside of having the government spend money to get kids into video games? What? Jeez.
Columbia University. Be giving a rich university that has $13 billion.
Wait, how much for a university?
Giving a rich
Let's see here.
playing video games. $388,000 for Columbia University. Be giving a rich university that has $13 billion any money.
Yeah, $13.6 billion in their endowment. Cash money, son.
$149,000 for the Baltimore Symphony. Give money to all the symphonies and we'd make them part of government.
That's ridiculous. And it's pretty well. I got 18.5 million views on Doge. Oh, sorry about that. Actually, on Elon, I got 14.4 million. One of the first comments comes to us thanks to Gunther Eagleman saying, quote, cut 85% of federal spending. Nothing else is acceptable. 847 likes, which let's make 848. Oh, 851. It's going up like an NVIDIA stock, though not financial advice. Let's see. Yeah, Planet of Memes has a picture of someone with a book that's like 3 feet thick. It says the government we have now, and then it's juxtaposed with a picture of someone holding a book between two fingers. It's like the size, maybe like a Lego book. Does the government really need? Getting 859, 860, 875 likes. Paul Zupa says, well, this gets more ridiculous every time I look at it, getting 37 likes. Colin Rugg says, quote, he missed the program that funds drag shows in Ecuador, getting 445 likes, which, yep, that's our tax dollars at work. Seemingly helps every citizen of every other country except ourselves. We have American Papa Bear saying, quote, time to get to work, Doge, getting 38 likes. Let's see here. Kurt Bergenstorm says, quote, not only do we need to track down all this prolific spending, it should be investigated for payoffs and kickbacks. Agree. And follow the names of senators and reps sponsoring the bill. And there's a picture that says typical Washington, D.C. proposal. And a Democrat and Republican are both sitting at a table. And the Democrat is holding up a piece of paper saying, destroy America. It says, could you meet us? Could you meet at least halfway? And the Republican says, deal. Which, yeah, there's all those useless rhinos out there. Like 174 likes. See here. Hanjo Gurki says, would also add $90,000 for a package of bushings on the list. And that was originally posted by Joel Jenkins, who says, quote, oh, this is I forget which senator is saying this, but it says, the U.S. Air Force spends $90,000 for a package of bushings that typically cost well over $100. And that got 223 likes. Sunshine Shines says, it's Doge time. It's an AI picture of Elon Musk holding a chainsaw, getting 75 likes. Florida One says, the government wastes get worse each year. One day you wake up and realize what happens. It's time to destroy the country's currency. It says $20 in 1932 could buy you, these 482 gallons of gasoline, 427 gallons of milk, 657 dozen eggs, 2,700 first-class stamps. And then $20 in 2022, which he's got dramatically worse in 2024, but nevertheless, the little infographic says 2022 US $20 bill will get you 3.5 gallons of gas, 5.2 dozen eggs, 5.2 gallons of milk, 5 dozen eggs, and 25 first-class tickets. The Fed uses inflation to steal your wealth and keep you working longer for less. Got 181. Let's make it 182 likes. I Love American News says, this picture of the cute Peanut the squirrel saying fight, fight, fight. It says, quote, I want a government small enough to have neither the time nor resources to conduct a 5-hour raid over a pet squirrel. Got 900. Let's make it 901 likes. Let's see here. Yeah, just so much waste. It's almost comical. Wall Street Ape says more insane waste of your tax dollars. Says 3.7 million to NIH grants were towards monkeys for gambling research. 1.5 million to see if a city of frogs would have a different mating call than the country of frogs. What? $549,000 for Russia lab for cat research. Jeez. I got 847 likes. Which, yeah, fascinating how the U.S. government keeps failing audits. But, you know, if you spend $601 on someone, they're going to track that person down and make sure you 1099 them. Just ridiculous. And, yeah. Let's see here. No, we'll do one more. Someone by the name of Department of Government Efficiency, was it Khan? Another profile separate from the main one says, low-hanging fruit. It says, did you know the National Institute of Health spent $2.3 million on research in which beagle puppies were injected with cocaine? At 208 likes. Which, yeah, a lot of government wasting. And even if you could argue some of this might be for medical research, I don't know how you make that argument. I mean, medical companies will do that. So much is just extra BS you could trim from the budget. And yeah, I think, tequila fighting fish is perhaps the best example of government ineptitudes and us funding crap we don't need to. And hopefully these stories highlight to every American to show how utterly how much our government wastes so much money, and to get everyone on the same page of, yeah, we need to cut this, we need to slash the budget. Again, we're also $36 trillion in debt. I mean, one would think that should unite every American when they realize we are spending more on the interest of our loans than the actual spend we have on defense. That's just the interest, not paying towards the principal. So, quite concerning, and hopefully more people wake up to the fact that Doge is going to be a great thing. And it is funny that Elon did get that as an official department name. It also happened to be a coin name. And let me know, are you surprised the government wastes this much money in this types of bizarre ways? Let me know, because as always, it'll be fascinating to hear what you have to say. Now, going over to the business blunder of the day, you have General Motors recalling more than 450,000 vehicles. Yeah, they should have made manual transmissions. Yeah, because it's for the transmissions. Now, this comes thanks to the OG search engine, which is still around as Yahoo Finance, saying, quote, GM to recall more than 461,000 vehicles over transmission issues, according to the NHTSA. And there you can see the Chevy Silverado 2500 5930 XY Banana Falcon, the one that's the size of a small truck trailer or house. In all reality, this is the Chevy 2020 heavy-duty pickup. Is at their Flint assembly plant. But spoiler alert, yeah, it's because they make automatic transmissions. You wouldn't have this issue if they had 3 pedals like all trucks should have by default. But I partially digress. Now, this is also credited to Reuters. They say, quote, GM will recall specifically 461,839 vehicles over an issue with the transmission. The recall involves some of the models of the 2020 to 2022 Chevy Silverado, GMC Sierra, which, spoiler alert, they're all made on the same factory. They just slap on different stickers and logos. 2021 Cadillac Escalade, the Chevy Tahoe, the GMC Yukon, and others. The transmission control valve on the impacted vehicles may fail, causing the rear wheels to lock up. This is funny because this government speak is from the NHTSA. They say, quote, which would increase the risk of a crash. Yes, that is true, government. Having wheels that lock up unexpectedly could increase the risk of a crash. I'm glad you understand that. They say, quote, to fix the issue, dealers will install a new transmission control module software for free of charge, and GM will provide a special coverage program for repairing transmissions identified as containing a defective control valve. GM also asked dealers to immediately stop delivery of the vehicles, which, that's bad for sales reps. I'll never forget when I used to be in the automotive industry, there's one, was it the ignition? I believe it was the ignition control failure, so the actual car ignitions would not work. and they all shared that vehicle, so it pretty much meant you couldn't sell anything in the GM portfolio. It was a terrible instance, one of the biggest business blunders in automotive history. Imagine having every one of your vehicles, oh yeah, can't sell it. Because again, there's some components, yeah, it makes sense with economies of scale. You have the cheaper price per unit if you buy in bulk. There's some components where I understand why it makes sense to have that one component on every one of your vehicles, but the downside of that is when you have an issue, yeah, they all have an issue. Now, this case wouldn't have happened if they just had manual transmissions like they should have by default. Unfortunately, the last full-size truck in North America you could buy with the stick shift was a Dodge, and now the only lightweight truck in North America you can buy is all alone, the Toyota Tacoma, which does come with the stick shift, and can't get in green, so yeah, if I had won the lottery, I'd probably buy at least one. And yeah, it's one of those things where, I mean, people are using these, not just, there are a lot of payment queens, like people buy a truck and just, leave it there, don't actually use it. Use the truck bed from when you get Walmart groceries, but there are some people that actually use trucks as intended to actually make a living in, and you're actually using it to haul things and throw things to the real bed of the truck, and now you're taking away their livelihood. They got to take it to the dealership. It's hilarious. GM wants to be an EV company. This is yet another software issue, which, again, you're going to have, an EV is going to need a lot more software, so I'm pretty skeptical about their long-term performance and reliability in that metric. And yet, GM is already not known for having great reliability. I mean, typically go to Toyota for that. And this just chisels away more at the reliability of the trucks. And they're already second best. In North America, the best-selling truck, bar none, is the Ford F-150, 250, 350, Banana 50, Falcon, the whole line of the Fords. It has pretty much number one sales in most states in the U.S. So to give people yet another reason to buy a Ford, which, again, is also not the pinnacle of reliability, you gotta say GM, have another issue related to your transmissions. Gotta say that it's certainly the business blunder of the day. Thank you, everyone, for taking the time to tune in. Again, trying to get to 4,000 subscribers by the end of the month, so if you can click that button, I greatly appreciate it. Also, give me a thumbs up, thumbs down, or comment. It's a great way to give me some additional feedback, letting me know how I can make the show better and better. Lastly, don't forget to take time to tell your family, tell your friends, tell your coworkers, heck, tell your enemies, tell anyone and everyone. Just stay safe, fight the good fight.